Please note that this Under the Sheets may feature themes of violence, cursing, mental health, and descriptions of sexual acts and desires. Some episodes also contain themes which may be triggering. Please take care of yourself and don't hesitate to ask for help if you need it. I'm not providing medical or health advice as I'm not a professional. So if you do have any medical or health queries, please consult a professional such as a GP or visit www.dirtytalkofficial.com/helplines for certified health organisations. Laugh about it.
Give it to me, baby.
Learn about it. Love it or hate it. Let's do it. Under the Sheets with Tatiana Ashbourne and friends. Welcome back to Under the Sheets with Tatiana Ashbourne and friends, brought to you by Dirty Talk. I'm Tatiana Ashbourne, and these are my friends. This is Raph, everybody!
Hello!
Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
No worries. How do you feel?
I feel amazing.
Yeah.
This is so exciting.
You literally walked in the door looking the part. You know, you look amazing.
Thank you so much.
So thank you so much for wanting to come on the show.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's so amazing, honestly.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And you're so welcome. Please come again soon. Great. Okay, so we're going to get right into it.
Cool.
What is your favourite place to be massaged?
What is my favourite place to be massaged?
Or where is your favourite place, I suppose?
Probably like just the classic, like my shoulders. Or actually, I had a few problems with my back recently. Well, not like problems, but like my back is like really just like messed up. So I like maybe like a good back massage.
Yeah.
Or like just shoulders back.
What celebrity do you think would be best in bed?
Oh my goodness. I've thought about this so much. Probably, oh my goodness, so many. So first of all, I like to think Chris Evans, you know, the guy who plays Captain America.
Yes, yeah.
I feel like he would be amazing.
Okay.
And then also Troye Sivan, the singer.
Yeah.
I feel like he would be incredible in bed. He would be incredible. And then I think also the classic answer like Harry Styles.
Okay.
Well, maybe, I don't know about Harry Styles.
And are these your
maybe.
celebrity crushes?
Harry Styles isn't my celebrity crush, although I think he is very sexy. Troye Sivan has been one of my celebrity crushes. I guess he kind of still is. I think I've kind of like moved away a bit from celebrity crushes.
Mm-hmm.
Like I now just go for people who are actually like, everyone's like real people, but like people who I've like
You're
actually likely to meet. Yeah.
I have hope for you.
Oh,
You'll
thank you.
Troye Sivan.
I hope I'll be Troye Sivan as well. I hope I'll be his boyfriend one day.
And do you have a type?
Do I have a type? Again, I was literally thinking about this yesterday. I guess first thing is just have a good style.
Yeah.
In clothing, taste in clothing, but also like the style that I like.
Okay.
Like my kind of style. Good hair as well.
Yes.
And I'm not just talking like your normal like smart haircut.
Yeah.
Like I like dyed hair when it's like dyed a different color. You know, like how sometimes boys like buzz cut their hair and then dye it.
And then dye it. That's your thing.
I find that so sexy. I love that.
Okay.
And then also like spiked hair.
Yeah.
I love spiked hair. It's a bit of like a 2000s-y kind of like look. I really like that.
Yeah.
And then I guess it also just comes down to personality, really. If you like connect and stuff, and I guess you don't have to have the same sort of interests in me, as me, but just sort of supporting and sort of having a slight interest in what I'm doing, and stuff, and just not using me for sex, I guess, which is what I guess a lot of boys who I've met before just want sex and nothing else. And it's like, that's fun, I guess, for like an hour, each day. Mm-hmm. And then after that, it's just sort of like boring a bit. You know, I want a bit of a human connection.
Mm-hmm. Of course, that's so important.
Yeah.
And have you ever been close to finding the one?
There have been so many times where I have, and it's so funny because literally like every single boy I meet, I'm like, I feel like you're the one. I feel like you're the one. My friends are like, Raph, this is like the 8th boy you've said this about. And it's like, I know, but like you said the one. There was like how long ago was it? Not even that long ago, maybe like 2 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was we got along really well, and then I think he was just sort of like, do you know what? I don't think I'm like ready for a relationship. I don't think like
Yeah.
I really like you and we get along really well, but just
Yeah.
like I'm not ready. Except he didn't say that, his friend did to me. He
Ooh,
got his
that's a bit of a
friend
red
he got
flag,
got
though.
his friend to say that to me. So basically he was just a bit scared,
Yeah.
and things ended there.
Well,
And
maybe. Well, I suppose that maybe shows that he was interested, but he just felt so bad. You know, he felt a bit embarrassed that he wasn't ready.
Yeah. Although at the time it made me feel like it was me. It's just like, do I come across as just like too much?
Yeah.
And am I just a bit like in your face? And I was just thinking about that a lot. And then I sort of came to the conclusion that, I don't think it was me. I think it probably was probably just to do with him. Because also I think I've been in that situation before where I've had to be like to guys, like, it is generally not you, it is generally me. And I'm happy and like confident to admit like I am actually the problem here. Like I'm generally not ready and confident for this. So that was, that happened about 2 months ago. And it kind of damaged my confidence in finding love a little bit. I mean, I think when you go through like finding loads of boys you think are the one, and then ends up like not actually happening either because they're just not your type, or you're not their type, or they just want something that they have. What is that phrase? It's like hidden. It's like when you want something. It's
Unrequited love? I don't know.
No, it's like when you want something. So like, say for example, I was like, we were dating, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, I only want to be in a relationship for you for sex, but I didn't tell you that. It's like a hidden want.
And we were speaking earlier that you haven't quite had sex, but you've been come close to it. And so why is it that you haven't had sex? Are you just not ready? How does it make you feel, the idea of sex?
I think it's such a funny thing because I think when I think about it, I'm like, I'm so ready. I've got the body, I've got the mindset, I've got the energy. I'm so ready, let's go. And then I get to it and I'm like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
But what's so funny is that with the men that I have come close to having a sexual encounter with, they've been so much older.
Okay.
Well, not so much older. I'm talking guys no older than 25.
Okay. And just state how old you are as well.
I'm 18.
Okay.
But yeah, no older than 25.
Yeah.
And I think what's funny is that what I've realized is I think it would be a totally different experience if I did it with a boy who was my age.
Okay.
Because I think when you're the same age, you're kind of going through the same things and you're curious to like try stuff, but you're also maybe not equally as confident as say like a 25-year-old. Because I think when two people who have sex who have like major sort of age gaps between them, there are two different experiences I think going on. And I think like the older person tends to have a completely different experience and image of what sex is like for them. Well, I think actually it doesn't even have to do with like age. I think it is generally just individual person thing. I think each individual person has a different expectation when it comes to sex.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think of course that comes with like fantasies and experiences and fetishes and what people are into and stuff. And so I think it's just about me just waiting to sort of try it with someone who's sort of the same age as me, not same walk of life as me, but just the
someone
same,
who gets you.
Gets me.
Yeah.
And I think also the times that I have had near sexual encounters with older men. Well, when I say sexual encounters, I mean obviously we've like touched each other and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it hasn't been like full kind of like penetration and like stuff like that. But when I have had those near sexual encounters, it's always been that they've had high expectations of me. Yeah. Forgetting that actually like I'm only 18 and like I actually still have a lot of exploring to do.
Yeah.
And there's
100%.
different like I have different interests and stuff I want to like explore.
Yeah.
And I think some of the men have been like, oh yeah, I totally get that. And then they suddenly get baffled when they're like, how do you not know how to do this? How do you not know how to do that?
Okay.
Why aren't you experienced in doing this? And it's like, because I'm 18 and I want to explore and like try different stuff. And I think when you find people who are the same age as you, for example, me being 18, I think if I'm having sex with another 18-year-old, we're both more likely to be very open to the fact that we're not super experienced in doing stuff, and this may be our first time doing certain things. So to cut a very long answer short, I think it is just really been down to the fact that I've had near sexual encounters with older men, and I think it's about me sort of honing it down to just sort of making sure that my sexual encounters is with boys within the sort of same age group as me.
Yeah, to make you feel more comfortable.
Yeah.
And how's it been when you've been in a situation that you're progressing to, for the final result, to maybe have penetrative sex? How do you feel when you're saying no? Or has it never got to the point where you have to say, I'm really sorry, I'm not there yet?
There has been times. There was a time quite recently where I had to say no, but just in a very classy way.
Yeah.
Like I had to cut it short, and then I was just like, "Oh, I'll see you," because it was like a sort of like a club sort of night out, and so I had to be very classy. Be like, "Oh, I'll see you guys out there. I'm gonna go and find my friends." But there have been times where I've had to say no purely just off the basis of, again, I'm not super experienced and I don't know how to do all these things. And also, like, you're asking me, an 18-year-old, to engage in these like major like kinks and fetishes that you, a 25-year-old man, has. I'm not gonna, and this is like, I'm going into super like detail here, but it's not graphic, but it's like a bit on the nose. It's like, I'm 18 years old, like I'm not gonna be comfortable to like piss on you because you have like a piss kink. I have met a guy who has a piss kink, and it's like, I'm not gonna be comfortable to like piss on you because, again, like my sexual journey is just lifting off the ground. Like, I'm just getting started. You can't expect me to go from 0 to 100 when I've just started this journey.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
I think it has a lot to do with expectations. And I think if there's one thing that people take away from this conversation, is just, if you're having sex with someone or you want to explore it, just be so clear with what your expectations and what your interests are. Because actually, if it's very one-sided and you're just like, I'm into this, I want that, you don't know that other person might not actually be into that, and that other person might not feel comfortable doing that. And again, with me, like I've had times where I felt guilty because I've apparently upset a guy because I don't want him to touch me in certain places. I don't want to like have my bottom half exposed for him to like do stuff like, and I've basically been guilt tripped because I'm not super experienced in doing those things. And it has impacted me a bit, because it then kind of has this thought like circling around your mind of, oh, am I not good enough because I wouldn't go from 100 to 100 like that? I wouldn't like, am I like the bad guy here because I'm not going to let some guy like just rip off my trousers and rip off my pants whenever? But I think also what I've come to understand in time is that it's okay to have standards and boundaries, and be like, no, I'm not going to just let you just rip my pants and trousers down, because no, like I hardly even know you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And do you feel peer pressure when it comes to having sex, and how do you feel like you're late to having sex, or do you feel like you've got so long to have sex? You know, how is it with your friends and with people as in the club, and especially the people that are about to have a sexual encounter with you? And obviously, as you said, they're very much like, oh, let's do this, do this, do this. Do you feel a level of, oh my goodness, there's so much I need to do, and I need to get it done?
100%. I think that I personally, like, until like quite recently, felt like I was just so late to sex, because people have just been like, oh, I like have I had sex when I was 15. I had sex yesterday
Yeah,
when we
yeah.
were like 16. And like, it got to the point where I had to like make up a lie and be like, I lost my virginity when I was 12 because like
Wow.
I wanted to just fit in and be like, yeah, like I've had sex. Oh, all these boys want me, like blah.
Yeah, yeah.
When in truth, it's actually like I have not had sex. Like I'm still a virgin,
Mm-hmm.
and like the only boys I have like
Mm-hmm.
asking me for sex are like 30-year-old men on Grindr, and it's not the perfect fantasy that I think people make it out to be.
Yeah.
There's this huge pressure, especially in the LGBTQIA plus community,
Mm-hmm.
to lose your virginity as early as possible and have this like crazy sex life. And you just have to live this fantasy, no matter how made up it is. You have to live this fantasy of, yeah, all these boys want me. Like
Yeah.
all the like straight boys are in my text messages asking to like want me to come around the house, blah, 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 blah. And it's just not the case. It's just not like that. And I think that it feeds into that kind of like desperately trying to chase validation.
Yeah.
And you just want to prove to people, it's like, yeah, I can do all these things and all these people love me and I'm amazing at this and blah. I don't know where this like idea, this theory of within like the sex community of like it being such a huge race.
Yeah.
I don't know what, and I think it's for straight people as well as queer people, like everyone sees it as such a race.
Yeah.
That you have to like have sex as soon as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And people will, I know people who've like just tossed their like standards and boundaries straight out the window because they want to lose their virginity as early as possible, just to show to people that they can do it and get that validation from people. And I just think it's such an unhealthy thing to do.
It's scary stuff as well. I don't think people realize that that's something that is a part of you, you know, that you're going to, it's so weird how you start stripping in front of someone, and that's a big thing for some people to do.
Yeah.
You know, and that's a major thing. It's crazy. And do you I'm trying to think what I was going to say now. Do you think that are you waiting for it now to be with a special person, with someone that means a lot to you?
Yeah, I think that the stuff like aftercare and just having that genuine connection and just wanting to know the person that I'm having sex with, you know, that's very important to me. I think, again, like hookup culture and stuff like that, to me it's so toxic.
Yeah.
I could just never do that. I like having a genuine connection with someone, and that whole aftercare thing is so important to me.
Yeah.
You know, people are like, oh, get into bed with me, blah, blah, blah. Let's do this, let's do that. Can I suck you off in the bathroom? And it's like, I don't even know you. Like, we've been chatting, like, throughout the night. Like, we've been chatting.
The hello didn't mean get in my bed.
Exactly. And they're like, oh, but we know each other. Like, there's a genuine connection here, I feel like. And it's like, okay, what's my favorite color?
Yeah.
What's my favorite movie? What's my name, for God's sake? Do you know what I mean? Like, I think to me, my virginity is still very important to me. And I think to lose it means to hand it over to someone.
Okay.
And I want to make sure that I hand it over to someone who generally cares about me.
Yeah.
Before, during, and after. You know, they don't just get that hour of pleasure and then just go away and I never hear from them again. Because then I feel like I've been violated. Yeah. And I feel like that special thing's been taken away from me.
And would you be concerned if they've had sex before, or you wouldn't mind?
I wouldn't mind. I think as long as... Oh, well, it's interesting because I think there's a part of me that is kind of interested in casual sex in terms of like, oh, just having a bit of a friends with benefits thing going on and stuff like that. But I think also like if it was like my boyfriend or something like that, I'm not sure if I'd be super open to us having like a super open relationship where we're seeing other guys when we're not together. Because I think also that connection between me and my hypothetical boyfriend, it does mean something and it is special and we have it for a reason. And I think for us to then go our separate ways and have sex with other men, well, then what does our relationship mean? Because if we're having sex with other guys, then they might as well be our boyfriends as well.
Yeah.
So I don't have a problem with people having sex before they have sex with me, say if they enter a relationship. I don't have a problem with that at all. And I'm not saying like all the people you've had sex with, don't talk to them, don't be in contact with them, blah, blah, blah. But if we're entering a relationship and a sexual relationship, it's got to mean something. And it's got to be special. And there's got to be a reason why we're entering it. It can't be that we're just entering it and then we're having sex with other people, because then what's the point in a relationship happening? And I think that sometimes people make the misconception that they get into relationships just so they can say they're in a relationship.
Okay. And the idea of polyamorous relationships, do you understand why people do that? Or are you a bit like, that's slightly strange to me?
No. I mean, I very much view sex and what people do. It's totally your choice. You know, it's such a freeing thing, and just never let people like shame you for what you're interested in. I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah, definitely.
In terms of polyamorous relationships, I say go for it. Like, I know people, I've met boys who are in polyamorous relationships and they seem so happy and so fun. And I think there have been times where I've thought to myself, do I want to get involved? Yeah. And I think still now, like, I'm interested in kind of exploring that a little bit just to see what it's like. And I think I kind of just want to try everything. I think I kind of just want to try, just anything and everything. And of course, there will be things that I love and things I don't like. But yeah, polyamorous relationships, I think I can understand why people are in those relationships. And I think that is something interesting that I'd quite like to explore.
Yeah.
Again, just with the right people and making sure that like our sort of standards and boundaries are understood, and what those hidden intentions. Oh my God, that was it. Hidden intentions. Just like what people's intentions are. So there's no like miscommunication, or there's no suddenly we're in bed and I'm like, I'm not comfortable doing this. And then there's suddenly like a huge sort of falling out. Like, I think it's just so important that you understand the person, not back to front, but just you understand the person's, what they're into, what they're not into, kind of thing. Sex is very like in the moment, so I understand that it's quite hard to like properly communicate about these things, but I think if you do get the chance to, it is key.
Yeah. And you were talking about the pressure of the LGBTQ plus community. What would you say is the biggest misconception of the community?
The biggest misconception is that, like, this is a very un-PC thing to say, but I'm going to say it, that we're all like whores and we're all like sluts and we're all just super horny and we're just so ready to like suck you off in an alleyway and like we're just so dirty and sex is the only thing on our mind. We're just walking, talking sex machines that don't think about anything else. We're just so clueless. We're like, who's that girl in Mean Girls? You know, the one who's like,
the main girl?
No, the one who's like, when I feel my breasts, I can tell what the weather's gonna be.
Yeah.
Like, do you know how she's like super clueless and she's like, what? Huh? Like, I think people think that gay people are like that, and it's just totally not true. Like, us gay people, we have standards and we have boundaries, and in the same way that straight people do, so do we. Like, no, I'm not gonna. Although there may be some people, I don't speak for the whole community. I'm sure there are some people who are totally up for that and like, you go, girl. If that's what you want to do, you go for it. But I don't think that that's all of us.
Yeah.
And what's upsetting is that when I have said to men, no, I'm not going to suck you off in an alleyway because I don't know what you look like. We've never met before. We've never chatted.
Yeah.
I don't know you. I'm suddenly met with, oh, you're so difficult, like, and it's like, why? Because I have standards, because I have boundaries, because I'm saying, no, actually, I'm not going to do this with you. I think, that's the biggest misconception, that we're all just very clueless and we're super horny and we'll do anything, no matter how dirty it is. Like, we'll always put a sexual encounter before our standards and boundaries. That's just not true.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's so important that I think to all young queer people, especially young queer people, because I know I was in the same situation. A lot of my other queer friends were in the same situation where when you're just starting out, you are so happy to just throw all of it away, and you will do stuff no matter how uncomfortable it makes you. Just, I think queer people understanding that if something doesn't make you comfortable, don't do it.
Yeah.
If a boy wants to do something with you and you don't want to do it, don't do it. Because you think that it's going to result in this amazing fantasy where you're surrounded by all these gorgeous boys who love you and care for you. It's just not the case, because you don't know what that other person's intention is. For all you know, like, what you don't know is that that person just wants a quick sucking off, and they don't care about what happens to you afterwards. They don't. And so if you're going to explore sexual encounters, just do it with people who genuinely will care for you afterwards. And that's not to say that you have to be their boyfriend, you have to know them forever and ever, but they care about you, and they're interested in you as a person. And I think that that's a very important thing for queer people to understand. Always put your boundaries and your and things like that before anything else.
Yeah. And do you think the society has changed in the way people perceive queer people, and how has it changed for the better? Do you think it's getting worse? How do you feel about that?
I think it is starting to get better, because I think, especially, like, I use TikTok a lot. And so, like, that's where a lot of the conversations that I see, I'll see them on TikTok. I think there is starting to emerge, well, actually, like, in queer journalism as well.
Yeah.
That conversation of, actually, like I was just saying, actually, let's start taking care of ourselves and taking care of each other.
Yeah.
And let's start seeing these apps like Grindr and these other platforms and hookup culture. Let's start seeing it for how toxic it really is.
Okay.
And let's start, having a conversation about it, and let's start talking about self-care. Let's start talking about our mental health as queer people, and how sexual encounters can affect our mental health, and how sexual encounters can affect our body image, and how it can affect our relationships. Let's start taking care of each other, because I think that there's so much in terms of, like, sexual care. It's so much more in straight community's favor than it is for the queer community. And I think that's because there are just two different narratives for each community. I think with the straight community, well, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think from what I've seen for the straight community, it's very much that, like, when straight people have sex, it's such a romantic thing, and it's such a natural thing, and it's so heavenly, not heavenly, but, like, it's so, like,
I know what you mean.
It's so accepted. And then with queer people having sex, it's so scandalous, and it's so hush hush, and it's so, like, naughty, and it's so dirty, and it doesn't have to be that way. We can equally make queer sexual encounters beautiful and respectful and natural, because that's what they are. And so I think that whole conversation is starting to come to light, and a lot more people are starting to talk about it. And a lot more queer people are starting to become confident in not tearing each other down, and loving each other, and not seeing each other for competition and stuff. That makes me very hopeful for the community. I mean, we still have a lot more work to do, but it's starting to show itself.
Yes. Yeah. And from being queer and Black, how do you feel that how, like, that must shock a lot of people when it really shouldn't? How do you feel that like, what part have you played in the society that you're trying to change the whole idea of it being shocking and it being a scandal?
That it's just we are unique.
Yeah.
I am the best of both worlds, but it's also, like, it's nothing. It's nothing that you should be ashamed of. Ashamed of. For white queer people, I think it's so much easier for them to be accepted by their family, and to be accepted just period, than it is for coloured people of colour. Because I think as a person of colour, I've got the weight and the burden of my culture with me, as well as my sexuality. And my culture and my sexuality do not mix. Where I'm from, an island in the Caribbean called Grenada, it's extremely homophobic. You can still be in prison for 10 years for being homosexual. Wow. There are no rights. You can't get married. You can't have a civil partnership. You can't adopt if you're homosexual. Nothing. And it's
crazy.
And again, like, that's why I haven't told people of my Caribbean family that I'm homosexual, because I just think it would make a huge problem that I don't think needs to be made. I think for my dad especially, who just would never understand why I would choose to be homosexual. I think, and that's the mindset of a lot of people who come from where my culture is from. They think it's a choice. They think that you have to choose. You choose to be homosexual. And why would you choose to oppress yourself? And why would you choose to strip yourself of all these rights? Why would you choose to make your life so difficult? And they don't understand that it's just a natural thing. Like, this is how I've always been. Like, I've, since as long as I can remember, since 5, I've just never been attracted to girls, like, ever. Just ever. Like, I can't help that. I wish, like, you don't think I wish that if I could just be straight like that, and life would be so much easier for me. You don't think I would do that? I would. Oh my goodness. But also, I've come to learn to be proud of, like, my sexuality. And I think when you see the merging, finally, when you see the merging of queerness and black culture to make black queerness, it is such a beautiful thing. There are so many black queer events that I go to that are so amazing. And it just makes me so proud. And I think also understanding that a lot of black queer people have paved the way for the queer culture we have today. If you look at stuff like RuPaul's Drag Race and drag and all of that language, that originated from black trans women in the 80s, creating ballroom and that ballroom culture. And that whole language, which I'm sure you see a lot of gay people talking to, like, yes, slay mama, yes, work queen. That all came from black trans women. Trans women created that language. And to me, what upsets me is when it starts, that whole history starts to get flooded with white, gay, predominantly men who actually don't understand the history. You don't understand that actually you're saying trans women aren't women, but RuPaul's Drag Race and the way you talk was invented by black trans women. So that's a very hypocritical stance to take. We wouldn't have all of this without the excellence that is black queerness and black trans femininity. We wouldn't have any of that. And so I think the crossroad that I found between my two cultures is incredible. Although it is very heartbreaking that I could never go back to my homeland because I'd be prosecuted. I think at the same time, it's so amazing to see what we've managed to achieve from all of the odds that are stacked against us. It's such an amazing, beautiful thing. And I think everyone, no matter what way of life you're from, you just have to see it, because I think there'll be something in you that just makes you so proud of its existence. It's
And do you feel proud of your culture from the Caribbean or not, because it has such a strong opinion on being homosexual?
I think it's so difficult because there are so many things in my culture that I'm proud of.
There is so much that's amazing, you know, but it's so tough that there's something that's just completely wrong. You know, it's so difficult.
I love my island, and it's such a beautiful place. And my people, the history of my country has been through so much oppression, and has just been on the receiving end of so much hatred.
Yeah.
And I think the solidarity and the acts of solidarity that we've produced are incredible and amazing. And the other bits of history that we've managed to create, like Notting Hill Carnival and different carnivals, and our contribution to food and music and art and culture is so incredible. And I think especially with like my film, TV acting career and my writing career, that is always something that I bring to the table always. And I also there's always a little bit of gay in everything that I do and everything I make. But at the same time, it is a very hypocritical thing because a lot of people in the community will be like, Black people do not deserve to be oppressed and Black people deserve rights. Yes, but gay people don't. Gay people don't deserve rights. Gay people don't deserve to not be, what's the word? Like heard. No, you don't deserve that. But they're people too. But I don't agree with it. Hang on. So if I said Black people don't deserve rights, but that's different. No, it's not different. It's not. It's the complete same thing. And you know, and it's I think I'm lucky because I can actually enter my community and spark up that conversation. But it's difficult because I think it's you think to yourself, why do people think like this? But if you look at the sociological aspect of it, you actually see that a lot of them, it's like built into your brain, it's so hard to just not like think like that. Like you will, like, since day one, right, we've always been told that this color is pink. Or is it pink? I don't know.
Yeah, it's pink. It's pink.
It's pink. Okay.
But,
I thought you were gonna be like, it's actually purple. Can you imagine? That'd be so embarrassing.
Dirt makes it purple.
But like, we've always been taught that this color is pink, right?
Yeah.
But if someone was to come up and be like, no, it's blue, it's like, no, it's not. It's pink. It's like it's literally pink.
Yeah.
That's been
It's
hammered into our brain.
But also it's like, this is for girls.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of people, that was hammered into our brains for so long.
Exactly. And so for people to come along and be like, no, it's not, I think I can understand from a different point of view why people find it difficult to accept trans people and non-binary and queer people, especially if you're from a country that still like actively prosecutes those people and is against it. Like I can't like understand, but I can see why your brain would be like, no, it's not. Like that's not right. It's not right. Because in the same way we've been told this is pink, they see, no, it is not right. So I think I can understand why they think like that, because they've been brought up to think like that. But it's still an ongoing fight. And I think every new generation that arises, we have a fresh start to teach them the right things. And we don't have to carry everything that we've carried from centuries past. We don't have to keep carrying that with us. We can, in the new generation, in the new century, we can redefine what it means to be a woman and to be a man. We can redefine the meaning of gender. We can redefine the meaning of sexuality, of fashion, of everything. That is we always have that choice. And I think people think that we're stuck with that forever. We're not. We always have the choice to change that. And I think that goes double for my culture and my sexuality. We'll always have the chance to get along. We just choose not to because of the opinions of past centuries. It's a very interesting topic, which I could talk about for like hours, but you know.
And do you think that your culture on the Caribbean side is changing, like when you talk to your parents about it, or how was it when you were growing up, when you were having the conversation about you being gay? Was it something that it was all, like you said that you've always been like that, it's never changed, but has it did you start having conversations with your parents, or how did it work out? Because you say that your dad's not necessarily in the picture anymore.
No.
Is that due to the fact of being gay?
No. So my dad left years ago when I was like 5.
Okay.
But he was extremely abusive, and so he left ages ago. And ever since then, I've just had a very tricky relationship. And I've like 2 years ago, I just cut it off, and I was just like, no. So I actually, my dad doesn't know that I'm gay, but I've never told him because it's like, why bring someone toxic back into my life to tell them something that they would disagree with and start a whole new problem?
Yeah. But you think that he would disagree?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think people have always been like, but Raph, you don't know that. But it's like, but I know my dad and I know he would. I just know he would. And with my mum, it's funny, I never actually have said to my mum, I am gay. But she's just always known. Like I've been so subtle about it. Like the way I've dressed, what I watch, we've been to like drag shows and gay clubs together. Yeah. She's just sort of taking it like clue by clue eventually until the fact where she's like, okay, I get it now. I get it. Yeah. My brother, it's so funny. It's such a funny story. Me and my brother went for a walk like late at night and we just sat on like a park bench. And he was just like smoking it. And then he was just like, so have you been like chatting to any girls recently, anything? And I was like, in my mind, I was like, fuck, I can't get out of this. Like I can either lie and it'll be such a bullshit lie, or I can just tell him the truth. And I just turned to him, I was like, well, it was a bit of a tricky one. He was like, what do you mean? What do you mean? And I was like, well, I think I like boys like a bit more than I like girls. Yeah. And he just turned to me and he was like, Raph, you do know I've always known you were gay. And I was like, oh, okay then. And he was like, it was so sweet because my brother he's very caring and he's very lovely. Yeah. But he's very straight and he's very masculine. So he's very like, like, he's not monotone, but he doesn't like, he's not sensitive. Like he doesn't show any of that sensitivity. But it was beautiful because in that moment he was like, and you know, I will always care about you, whatever you are. Yeah. And like, if there are people who are ever harassing you or threatening you or anything because of the way you choose to love, like I'll always be there to support you. Yeah. Always. That's and so nice. And you will always be my little brother. Yeah. And it was such a beautiful, beautiful moment. And of course, you know, my brother is still learning about the community and still learning about the differences, and there's still things that he doesn't disagree, but he's still sort of wrapping his head around it, sort of like, you know,
takes his time.
It takes time. But yeah, I'm very lucky that the two family members that I have and the rest of my family have just been so welcome and supportive of it, and are just so like, yeah, cool.
That's so good.
I'm internally grateful because I know that not a lot of queer people have that. And I think I'm double lucky because I know of my culture. It would be my family could easily disown me, but instead they've chosen to like accept me and embrace me. And I think I'm so grateful because I know so many friends whose family aren't like that. So it is. I'm very lucky.
So lucky. And going back to dating apps, and obviously, you said you had Grindr. How, you know, tell me more.
Oh my
what
goodness.
Else do you have? What, you know, do you have any stories?
Wow. Just like, oh my God, just such stupid stuff like boys who've like agreed to meet me and then have just blocked me, and it's like, okay. Like we've never
why talk to me if you didn't block me?
They'll be like, okay, I'm on my way, and then they just block me and I'm like, no, okay. Which is just so weird. It's like I actually don't get that. Yeah. But I downloaded Grindr when I was probably about 16, 17. And I know that sounds quite young, but actually no, yeah, it does sound quite young, but actually, if you speak to a lot of other queer people, you will see that that's actually quite old, because I know people who have had Grindr since they were 12. And so I got it, and I had just recovered from this like huge like sort of mental health like problem. Like I was so ill, and I just sort of slowly started recovering it, starting to like feel my oats again, like, you know. And I was like, you know, I'm going to put myself out there, and I'm, you know, I feel confident about it, blah, blah, blah. I had this fantasy that I was going to go on this app. It's just be met with all these beautiful guys. You know how they advertise it? Yeah. Like all the pictures are just like model like men. It's like, oh. Yeah. And it's like all these boys are going to love me. They're all going to be my age. And I'm going to go around like after school every day, just like have sex with this beautiful boy with this beautiful body. and then I'm gonna have a boyfriend in like 2 months. Blah. Went on the app. No, it was the complete opposite. Just like blank profiles, just like meet now for sex, like, and just like 40-year-old men being like, "Hey, sexy," it was just full of like just discussing old men who were just asking like underage boys to like send them nudes and stuff, and like just all that pressure. And also when you do find boys who are like the same age as you, they're just so horrible. Like they just really drag you down, and they're like, "You're ugly. I don't like your body. I'm only looking for a sugar daddy." And it's like, oh my God, like what is this place? So
do you think that's on all the like the gay dating apps, or do you think that's every dating app?
Well,
that you get
I've only been on like so like Tinder and Bumble, those kind of like straight apps. I've only been on the gay side of that. Yeah. So like I only know what the gay experience is like on dating apps.
And is it all the same across all of them?
Pretty much. Like from time to time you'll find like a nice guy, and then you'll like talk for a little bit, and then you'll kind of slowly lose contact. Because I think it is difficult to actually get a relationship from a dating app up on its feet and into reality, and then like be in a strong relationship for like years. And that is really difficult, especially when you literally do not know the person and you have no friends in common or anything. But it has pretty much been the same, or like, again, you'll just get boys my age, the same age as you, who are just like horrible. And they're just like, if you're not a sugar daddy, don't talk to me. Or you'll just get like 50-year-old men who just, I'm not even gonna like begin, like, oh my goodness. So I think it has pretty much been the same experience, but one thing I've learned is that I'm actually much better. I think I have a much better chance actually going to like social events and like meeting people, especially boys who are like mutuals with like my other friends and stuff. Like I get along much better with them. I think it's just a whole different world in the sort of gay dating app sort of community.
And would you suggest to people not to even go on the apps?
Well, no, because I don't think I can speak for everyone, and I think people have different like expectations and different wants and needs. I think if you're ready for it and you genuinely know what it's like, go for it and do it. But if you're like me, like you're a naive, like underage person, and you have this like narrative in your mind that like you're gonna meet these beautiful boys, it's I hate to break it to you, but it's just really not like that. And I know that like you'll probably hear my advice and be like, he doesn't know what he's talking about. I was literally the same, but just trust me, like it is. And then before you know it, you've fallen into the trap of like violating your own standards and boundaries to please like a man. Just don't do that. Like people are so much nicer when you meet them in real life compared to when you meet them on dating apps, because it's just a whole different like facade and a whole different like, they put on a whole different personality when you're on a dating app compared to when you're on when you meet people in real life. And when you do meet people in real life, because I know I've been in this situation before, when you do meet people in real life who are actually just like grinder obsessed, like if you don't feel like you're going to get along with them because they're grinder obsessed and, you know, they seek validation out of just like meeting older men and, you know, getting off with them, don't see them as the role model. Don't put them on a pedestal and think that like, oh, I've got to be like as confident as that person. Because actually what you'll find is that I think a lot of queer people, especially myself, our past is made up of bullying and like not being included and like insecurity and sadness and queer people are amazing at putting on masks, and I know I do it as well, as putting on masks and make it out like we're super confident. But I think when you strip that away, we are still very fragile, and like there is a lot of like healing that we still have to do. So just don't ever think that by going on dating apps and like dedicating a lot of your time to Grindr and stuff that will make you a super confident, wanted person, because you won't. Like you will be so much more successful just meeting and connecting with people, whether it's at a nightclub or like a queer society event or whatever it is. You'll be more successful that way. And there is no true definition of what it means to be gay, of what a successful gay person looks like. There is no true definition. The only definition I can think of is that you're happy and you're confident and you don't bring other gay people down.
Yeah.
That's
Definitely. We're gonna go to audience questions now.
Oh my god, audience
Sorry to freak you out.
Audience have written in questions for me.
Yeah. When do you feel most sexy?
Oh my god, when do I feel most sexy? At 3 a.m. in my living room, listening to like drag race songs, like practicing my catwalk.
Yeah.
And just like I have this fantasy, right, that I walk down a catwalk, right, and Naomi Campbell is like at the end. And have you watched RuPaul's Drag Race?
I've watched snippets. I've never been. I really need to get into it.
It is.
I've
so
never
addictive.
sat down and gone for it.
It's
so, that's
so
what I need
funny
to do.
because you know what? Me and my mum, we watched one episode and we thought we weren't going to get into it. Oh my god! When I tell you, we literally binge watched the whole
because
series.
all my friends are. I really need to get into it.
Guys, you seriously? If you watch an episode of Drag Race, you will. You think you won't be addicted to it, you will be addicted to it.
Yeah,
it is amazing.
Yeah.
Basically, what happens? The structure of RuPaul's Drag Race is they walk down the runway with their looks, right, and then they get critiqued by judges, and they'll have like a guest judge who'll be a super famous person. In my fantasy, I walk down the runway in this amazing look, right? And Naomi Campbell's one of the guest judges. And she's like, Raphael, are you a model? And I'm like, no. And she's like, you were perfect. You were just so amazing. You're hired. Come and walk a catwalk for me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, ugh, Naomi, everyone just wants me.
That would be amazing.
And so that's my like fantasy. That's when I feel most sexy. But like I take pride in making myself feel sexy and not relying on other people to make myself feel sexy. I think I can just switch on that kind of like, I feel so sexy.
Yeah.
And also listening to music, like I've been listening to, do you know an artist called Flo Milli?
No.
No, she's an American rapper, but she does a lot of good songs that make me feel very sexy and confident. Flo Milli, Megan Thee Stallion, Nicki Minaj, you know, they all make me feel, and Sweetie, they all make me feel very confident.
Give me a song from Flo. What did you say? Flo
Milli.
So it's Flo Milli.
There's a song called Conceited.
Okay.
And there's a verse that goes, please don't bark because Millie bite back. And I love it so much. And it's like my favourite verse ever.
Yeah. And if you could have a sex scene in a movie, what would it be?
Oh God, what would it be? Oh my goodness. What, as in like the setting and like, or like the scenario?
Yeah. They're either off what you've seen in a movie.
Yeah.
Or if you could create your own movie and have a sex scene in it.
I've always been like interested in like having sex in a forest.
Okay.
Like, and I mean like just the perfect scenario where like no one catches us in the forest. Like picture this, right? It's like raining. Not heavily, but just like spitting a little bit. And we're in the forest.
We're going to put all the sound effects in the edit so you get the rain.
And we're like in the forest.
Okay.
And it's just like drizzling.
Yeah.
And it's just like, just picture like the person you want to have sex with.
Yeah.
And just having sex. And it's like, you just feel like so in nature. Not like in a sexual way, like in nature. Like you just feel like you're surrounded by nature and you're one with nature.
Yeah.
Just imagine how beautiful that would feel.
Right, 3 seconds of imagining.
That is just so sexy.
I'm getting aroused.
Do you know? Do you know? But no, but that's I love that. That is my like if I was in the sex scene, it would just be like we're lost in the forest, and then we're like have sex in the forest.
A beautiful moment.
And then
Apart from the thorns, if there's thorns there, rough ground.
If there's like rough ground or something, maybe like a nice little bush.
There's problems in your fantasy. We need to fix them.
Yeah. Also, maybe not in the river because you don't know if there'll be like or like pond. There might be leeches, or like you might get like swimmer's itch.
But suction might be quite nice.
Oh my God! You did not just say that. Maybe, yeah. I'll have to see.
Okay, what are your views on porn?
What are my views on porn? I think it's a bit of a sticky one. I don't think it should be banned.
Okay.
Although I don't think that it should be so like easily accessible to people, especially young people, because then I think that it's so easy to think that that's your expectation. Yeah. However, I think that it's something that you can use to pleasure yourself.
Yeah.
And if it's, people find it helpful. And I think if you see it as a helpful resource to help you pleasure yourself, then go for it.
Yeah.
Just as long as you don't fall into that trap of thinking that is what sex is like, because that is not what sex is like. And as long as you understand that that is not the only way to have sex, and that stuff like beating, biting, being like physically harming people is not sex, unless that person clearly says, I want you to do this to me, and you're careful. Like, that's not sex. And like, especially with body images as well, I think what's important is that people understand that those porn actors, like, they've had their bodies modified to look like that. And vaginas and penises, they're all clean and shiny and and like long and big, because that's what, like, in as far as the porn director is concerned, no one wants to see what a real life penis looks like. No one wants to see a floppy, hairy, small penis. Everyone wants to see like, what everyone sees in fantasy. So just as long as you understand that it is fantasy, you know. But also, like I said, if it's a good resource to get off to, you know. So
Definitely.
Stay educated.
And talking about long penises.
Yes.
Okay, you've got to do something for me.
Okay, I'm scared. What is this?
Right.
What is that? Actually, colour skirt. Not in the Sainsbury's bag.
Oh yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I've got an aubergine. Is it an aubergine? Courgette. An aubergine. Yeah. Right. You hold that.
Okay. It's quite soft. It's very like.
Don't expect this either, because this is very different to an actual penis.
Got a bit of hay on there. Nice.
I've got a condom here.
Yes.
I would like you to stick a condom.
Okay. On which?
You pick the end.
Okay, I'm gonna go this end because I feel like this is the more realistic size of a penis. I don't think anyone's penis is this big.
Okay. Shall I have this done?
Should I do a bit of ASMR?
Please do. Oh.
Is that nice? Okay.
This is good. You got to talk it through for the viewers that aren't watching, that are listening.
Okay. So
they'll love the ASMR.
So what I'm going to do for you is you get your condom packet and you rip off the side of it. You rip off the side of the condom, which will reveal the condom, and you take the condom out. It will be very like slippery and moist because it's covered in lube. Yeah. And then with the little bubble bit facing upward, you take the penis and you put it on, and you get the sort of circle bit. And you just roll it down like so. It's very slippery, so be careful. And you just roll it down until it has covered the entire of your penis. And then you have sex or you masturbate. And once the condom is full of sperm, you take the condom off. I can't take it off. You take the condom off and you wrap it in tissue paper and you put it in the bin. Please note that you don't put it in the toilet, flush it down the toilet, because it will clog the toilet and all the poo will regurgitate and it's very nasty. Don't make the same mistake I did. And that's how you put a condom on a penis.
That was so beautiful.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
That was beautiful. Amazing.
Did I actually do it right?
You did.
Did I actually do it right?
Good. No air bubbles either.
No air bubbles either. Look at that. That is incredible. Except for this, but this goes on the tip of the penis.
So the top bit, you leave a bit of a gap.
Yeah.
So then the cum can come out.
Yes. That's correct.
So you flushed a condom down the toilet.
I have flushed a condom down the toilet, but I wrapped it in tissue paper thinking that it would still go down. It didn't go down. And then my mum was like, what happened? And I basically made up a lie that I flushed kitchen paper down the toilet, which you can't.
Yeah.
And basically it just got the toilet jammed. And so basically just everything started coming back up. And I won't go into detail, but let's just say I went to the toilet and I flushed and it didn't go down. And it's all because of this little cheeky bastard here.
Oh no.
So seriously, do not flush condoms down the toilet. Even if you wrap it in tissue paper, don't flush it down the toilet because it won't go down, because it's made of latex. Latex is non-flushable, period. It will not flush down.
I love how you're wailing that about.
Yes.
It's great.
Can I keep this?
Of course.
Thank you.
It's you.
Thanks.
Well, I've got another gift for you, not just that.
Oh.
For coming on the show.
Oh, thank
I
you.
honestly cannot thank you enough. I've got something else to make you feel sexy in the
Oh my
room.
goodness.
I have got a candy pouch.
Oh my goodness.
I know.
Can we have a round of applause, please? Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Enjoy.
Thank
and
you.
Enjoy. I'm a bit concerned of what you're going to do with that courgette. But enjoy.
How do you, so you put it on and you eat it?
Yeah, or it's like someone else can eat it off of you as like pants, basically.
Oh my goodness.
I know.
I'm going to make sure my mom doesn't find this, because if she does, I'm going to die. I'm so taking this to university with me.
Please.
Oh my goodness. Oh, thank you so much.
No worries.
Thank
This is
you.
Raph, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Oh my God, amazing. If you would like to be a part of the show, please check out our website at www.dirtytalkofficial.com. We welcome all sexualities regardless of your sexual experience. If you would like to be an audience member only, please get in touch the same way. Like and subscribe on all social media platforms.